Unacademy. Let's crack it.
I am Aashna Chaudhary, UPSC CSE 2022, All India Rank 116. This is where I start from, and my session flow would be, I would first of all talk about the first two attempts, my preparation and strategy in those two attempts, and then the third attempt and my strategy and how it differed from the first two attempts and has really helped me in clearing this exam. Later on, I'll talk about a few learnings, key learnings that the aspirants can derive from my preparation strategy and from my success after failing, that came after failing twice. So that I would talk about. And then finally, I would open up the forum for your question and answers, wherein you can post your questions in the doubt section. I repeat again, please post the questions in the doubt section, because in the chat, I tend to skip those questions and you do not want your question to be skipped, right? So beginning from my first two attempts, so preparation and strategy. The first attempt that I took, I was not very well prepared there, though it was though it came after an active phase of my preparation. I did not practice much. So my first attempt has mostly been about acquiring as much knowledge as I can from wherever I can get it. I was not very sorted in my approach. My note making, I would say, was not up to the mark. I was not able to correlate current with static. I was reading everything, trying to understand everything, but revision was missing in my in the first attempt that I took. So my first attempt has mostly been about reading books, trying to retain them, uh, not getting time to revise them, not getting time to practice them enough, uh, trying to read each and every newspaper that I can, trying to gather each and every information I can, trying to cover comprehensively each and every subject. So I would read 3 to 4 books for every subject. For modern India, I would do spectrum. I used to uh, I used to do other things as well. For instance, also took up a class 12th NCRT of history for studying modern India, class 10th NCRT for modern India. So for one subject, I had multiple sources in my first attempt. In my first attempt, I wanted to do very well, and for this I thought ki the more I read, the more I will be able to do good. And that approach clearly did not work, because I could not even clear the first stage there. So my first stage prelims, I was sitting in the exam trying to do the questions, and I was not even able to see all the 100 questions. I panicked. The first 10 questions I did not know, and I panicked so much that the next questions I could not attempt at all. So it was a nightmare. It was more like a nightmare, and that happened because I did not practice much. So this was how my first attempt went. First attempt, I was trying to acquire knowledge from each and every source that I can get, not focusing on practice, not focusing on revision, and it went terribly wrong. It went terribly wrong. Then talking about my second attempt, I realized that I need to change my strategy a little bit. I need to be more focused. There needs to be a direction that I need to follow. I cannot pick up any book randomly and start reading it. That is not going to help me. So I need to delimit my sources. So first of all, my practice went into identifying the sources that I would be referring to for each and every subject. So I decided to go as per UPSC syllabus. GS1, I picked up GS1. History, started with history, divided history into ancient, medieval, modern India, and art and culture. Post independence and world history I kept for later, for the later part, and I found out these four domains and identified which sources I would refer to for each of these domains. And the source for one topic, for each topic, I had one source for each domain. Uh, Sometimes for specific topics I needed to refer to other sources, but I made sure that I do not repeat a single topic from different sources. So for each topic I had one source sorted. So that is how I began while I started preparing for the second attempt. I started by delimiting my sources, read the syllabus again twice, thrice, four times in order to understand the demand of UPSC. I tried to understand the demand of UPSC via current affairs as well. Gave direction to my study at this point. So at this point, what I did differently was to limit my sources, not read each and everything, but limited sources for each and every topic. Two, I decided to take practice tests more seriously. I started taking practice tests more seriously. Three, I started revising thoroughly. Four, I understood the requirement of current affairs for this exam and the need to focus on current affairs for this exam. So these are the four things that I understood while I was going to take my second attempt. However, the problem here arose from the fact that though I understood that current affairs are very important, I did not put in that much effort which was required in current affairs, was more focused upon the static part. Though I practiced this time, I revised repeatedly this time. Again, I was not able to clear prelims. However, this time by a very meager margin, 2.5 marks. So when I so this time when I could not clear, I was not heartbroken. I knew that I have improved significantly from my previous attempt wherein I could not even read all the questions. This time I was able to read all the questions. I was able to attempt roughly 87, 88 questions, and I missed the cutoff only by 2.5 marks, which was not very difficult to cover. If in 1 year I could do so much, how much can I do in the subsequent year? And that's what motivated me. So I was motivated. I knew that this time I have streamlined my strategy significantly. However, there are still a few things that I need to take care of. And in those few things, the thing that came was was current affairs. So somehow I was not able to, I assessed myself and I realized that I was not able to answer the questions that were related to current affairs really well. My preparation has rigorously been based on current affairs. So for current affairs, what I did was I used to read newspaper every day. I would make small notes out of the newspaper, and I have already told you how I did that. For instance, I'm reading the newspaper and there is a news on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So I will take up Netaji's name, write that, put a colon, whatever information is given, factual information, I would take that out of the article and would mention it with colon. So in about 1 to 2 lines, I would try to limit my information about Netaji. So that is how I started doing current affairs. So this time my preparation for current affairs has been quite rigorous. Then after reading newspapers every day, I would not stop at that. I would also do the portal. I took one portal of one coaching, and I would there would be around 10 news items, and I would skim through them. If these are the news items that converge with the newspaper reading, good enough. If there is some other news which was not there in my newspaper or came in some other newspaper, I would be able to derive that as well. And again, this new information I would write as a new point in my notes. So these are the two things: newspaper reading, coaching portal, and then I went on to my third source for current affairs, which was Unacademy's daily free T20 test series, wherein daily 20 questions from the daily current affairs were asked. So these free questions I would attempt. If these were from the newspaper or from the portal, good enough. If again I found some new thing, again I would make a point out of that. So these three things I did daily, revise every month subsequently. For instance, I read my monthly magazine for June, and next time when I get monthly magazine for July, I will revise it along with my monthly magazine of June. So I was able to revise all those things like that. My notes I was able to revise with the core GS preparation, because notes were divided based on the subjects that are offered by UPSC. So that is how I started preparing for current affairs this time. So from first time to second time to third time, gradually my graph kept increasing. So first time I was only focused on the knowledge aspect. Second time I brought into account the importance of practice, the importance of revision. And third attempt, I focused comprehensively on current affairs along with the static portion. So this is how my trajectory increased. And from first attempt, wherein I was not even able to read all the questions in the classroom, to second attempt wherein I missed the mark by 2.5 marks, to third attempt where I could clear prelims with a margin of about 30-35 marks. So there came a great change, and that change was not sudden, it was gradual. And these are a few changes that I incorporated in my strategy over a period of 2 years, and that has helped me be here sitting in front of you. Because after clearing prelims, I was able to clear the other two stages as well. So the roadblock that I found in the previous two attempts, I was able to go through that, or to surpass that, by bringing about slight changes in my strategy from time to time. Now we have seen my prelim strategy, then talking about my main strategy. So first attempt that I took, I did not have an optional. This is funny, but yes, I thought I would study English literature. I would take literature as my option, and I would study it maybe after my prelims. If I qualify prelims, then for means I would study English literature, and it would not be very difficult, because most of the novels were the same as my college novels, and I already had notes prepared for them, the college notes. So I thought it wouldn't be a very difficult exercise for me, and I can very easily do it. But when I couldn't clear in the first attempt, I thought I had plenty of time left, and I need to study some other subjects more comprehensively. I need to incorporate new learnings, and that's when I decided anthropology. So in my first attempt, I did not have an optional at all. I thought I would study literature, but later on, but I did not study by then anything. Second attempt, I sat back, thought a lot. I wanted to choose a subject that I would be intrigued by, uh, that I would be able to study for 7-8 hours a day without getting tired. And that also provides a new approach for me, that provides new insights to me. And that's when I chose anthropology as my option, which came in the second attempt. So first attempt I did not have an optional. Second attempt I chose my optional very, very, very after giving a good amount of thinking. And after choosing this option, I had to start all over again. So my second attempt has not only been about practicing and revising from the prelims point of view, but herein the core preparation of my optional also lies, because all the books that I keep telling you to read for anthropology, around 6 to 7 books, I read all these books during the second year of my preparation. So I read all these books. I made notes out of these books in the question and answer format. I made notes out of these books. If I found anything difficult in these books, I would refer to Anthropology Demystified by Akshay Jain sir, and which provides you information in a very simple form, and I would read that and then go back to my core readings. So that's how my second year of preparation was: revision, practice, current affairs, plus anthropology. So herein I made the notes of my anthropology, and then after I was done with that, core prelims preparation started, and again the revision practice component came up. Then after that, the however it was only limited to the second year of my preparation was only limited to making notes and reading the books of anthropology. Herein I was not involved in the answer writing process. Herein I was not involved in the revision aspect for anthropology or for my optional, for instance. And the third attempt, so after I couldn't clear prelims a second time in a row, I decided I will start with optional this time. I will make sure that I clear prelims. I was very geared up that I am clearing prelims this year. And not only am I clearing prelims this year, but I'm also I'm also clearing the entire cycle, which I did. So in order to clear the entire cycle, I cannot expect myself to sit for the exam without having my optional prepared thoroughly. So this time my preparation started with optional. So from having no optional in the first attempt to deciding on my optional and preparing notes, to revising those notes repeatedly and engaging in an answer writing process, has comprised my first, second, and third year of preparation. So herein means prelims, we have seen how I have focused on current affairs differently, comprehensively covered in my third attempt. Optional as well was given its due recognition during this attempt. So then I started preparing for optional this time. Then I also got reminded of ethics, that I do not have a source for ethics, because in the previous preparation I have been so preoccupied with the preparation of prelims itself. So if I am able to clear prelims without optional and ethics, I would not be able to clear mains. So after my optional, I went directly to ethics, saw a few videos on YouTube, made my own notes for each and every topic which is mentioned in the newspaper, which is mentioned in the syllabus. I made notes. I supplemented these notes with examples, case studies, and I also watched. I also went through a few toppers copies in order to see how what is their approach in order to uh, what is their approach in going through or answering the case studies. So these are the things that I did in the third attempt: current affairs comprehensive, uh, followed by my optional a thorough study of the optional, revision of the optional, test series of the optional, ethics, note making, as well as taking the classes of ethics, classes as in YouTube free classes. So classes of ethics, supplementing them with the examples. So this time for my mains, I already knew my GS1, GS2, GS3. Those sources I had already identified in my second attempt, for the same sources that I was referring to for prelims, the same sources for mains. So GS1, 2, 3. In my second attempt, I knew what the sources would be. Anthropology, in my second attempt, I knew my sources, and made notes, but prepared more thoroughly. And ethics also, I started in the in this third year of the preparation. So my third year has not only been unlike the first two attempts. My third year of preparation was not only limited to the preparation of prelims, but herein mains also formed a very important component of my preparation, which has helped me later on when I was able to clear prelims once. So yes, herein my focus has equally been on mains, and that is why I was able to clear the entire thing in one go. And at the same time, when I would study, I would also try to understand. to probe my understanding and my stand on the situation. For instance, if I'm studying uh, a problem with certain uh, metrics or certain tool to understand unemployment, and if I'm studying certain tool to understand unemployment, before studying the issues or the problems with that tool, I would try to, before reading the problems that have been identified by others, I would try to identify the problems myself. So in that way, I was also trying to brainstorm things which helped me during the interview process as well. So my third attempt has been an integrated approach wherein prelims, mains, and uh, interview, all three of them were equally important right from the first day of preparation. So that is how my strategy has differed in my third attempt. In my first two attempts, I was working in silos. I was focused on knowledge acquisition. I was focused uh, on acquiring as much as I can rather than revising, rather than practicing, or prelims was the mainstay during the first two attempts. But here in the third attempt has mostly not been in silos, but mostly about an integrated study, which has really helped me all through the courses. And here in the current affairs, and the strategy that I adopted for current affairs became very important. Also, third attempt, I would say, has been one wherein I was able to, by the time I reached this third year of preparation, I was able to very honestly and brutally assess myself. So if in the first two attempts I did not fail, I would have never understood the importance of current affairs and the time that I need to devote to current affairs study, which I did, because in the previous two attempts, questions from current affairs I was not able to attempt that well. And this focus on current affairs has also helped me during my mains as well as interview. So interview, I've already told you, it's about two things. It is either about your form or about the current affairs. Your form, you can always prepare. Current affairs, it is always good if you prepare from the beginning. So I prepared current affairs for prelims, then for mains, and then for interviews. So there was a chain, the link was not broken at any point, and that is why I was able to clear all three stages at once, and I was able to focus on my preparation, which was not only talking about the static portion but also the current portion. So, key learnings I would say for the aspirants here would be, there would be 4 or 5 key learnings for the aspirants here. The first learning is never give up. Had I given up after failing in the first two attempts, I wouldn't be sitting here and talking to you guys. So please, please, please don't give up ever. Talking about the second one, it would be that that the process, that the UPSC CSE process is an integrated process. Do not treat it in silos. Do not compartmentalize your preparation. It should be an integrated preparation for all the three stages. Third learning would be current affairs are as important as the static portion, and we have seen more importance being given to current affairs in the previous year questions by UPSC, and that is why current affairs become more important. Do not ask the question, can we skip the newspaper? You cannot skip the newspaper. As per me as per me you cannot skip the newspaper. It is an integral part of your preparation and should be followed thoroughly. Fourth would be a revision and practice are the key pillars, and if you do not do that, in the real exam you would panic, and that is not good. So that is how I panicked in my first attempt, because I did not practice. So practice and revision, these are the keys, and these should be prioritized in your preparation. And limiting the syllabus is another key learning that you should take away from this lecture, and should try not to read everything, everything, but only the things that are relevant or that you have identified as relevant for your preparation. All right, so these were the five learnings. Never give up, integrated approach, current affairs, importance of current affairs, followed by practice and revision.